Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Back in the studio today. I know yesterday I was a bit mashed up in my hotel room in Birmingham. It was a long night, New Year's Eve. But listen, we're fully into 2018 now and the January transfer window is open now. What are Arsenal going to do in that transfer window? Now, a rumour coming out of the blue yesterday that Arsenal may go back in and bring back a player that we already have, a player that's out on loan. Lucas Perez, who's out on loan at the moment at Deportivo La Coruña, has been linked with a move back to Arsenal in January. Now, he's been doing pretty well out there in Spain. He's already scored 4 goals this season. He's back he's back home, isn't he? I mean, Deportivo's where he came from. He had a great time there. The fans loved him there. But rumours now that Arsenal may want to bring him back in. Of course, Arsenal have got the problems of Olivier Giroud being out with an injury. Theo Walcott could be on his move this month to Southampton. Alexis could go. That would be a real lack of goals in the Arsenal team. And Arsene Wenger apparently looking at it and saying, well, mate, cancel the loan move and bring Lucas Perez back to London. Now, how would Lucas Perez feel about that, is what I'm thinking to myself, because when he left to go back out on loan to Deportivo, he didn't look like a happy bunny. He didn't look like he was happy with the way he'd been treated at Arsenal. He'd even made a few comments about it. And would he now be willing to drop everything to come back to help Arsenal out, or to help Arsene Wenger out, who he thinks has treated him badly? I mean, that is the question. But apparently Arsenal looking at the possibility of bringing Lucas Perez back. How would you guys feel about it, actually? I thought he was treated badly at Arsenal. For me, he was never really given a chance, but he could be on his way back. Now, Arsenal being linked today with a player from the German Bundesliga, goes by the name of Rafinha Demirbay. He plays for Hoffenheim, aged 24, in the midfield. Now, this guy is a player on the rise. He's been getting rave reviews over there in the Bundesliga. Started off playing for the sort of Turkish under-21 teams, but now he's decided to pledge his allegiance to Germany, and he's in the full German squad. And as I said, been getting very, very good reviews over there. Now, again, Arsenal looking at the midfield situation at the moment. No Santi Cazorla, of course. Ramsey out injured. The possibility of Ozil leaving. Real creativity and that missing. If, we saw the other day without Ozil what we were like. Could even Jack Wilshere go? So Arsenal definitely looking at alternatives at the moment. And this is a guy that they've identified. He's also been linked with Everton as well. But we'd have to wait and see what happens. Definitely Hoffenheim's the sort of team that you could go to and put in a big offer and they wouldn't be able to refuse it because they're not one of the big Bundesliga clubs. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Also being linked today with Leon Bailey. Now, Leon Bailey, another guy who plays over there in the Bundesliga. This time he plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He's only 20. He's a Jamaican international. Good to see. It'd be good to see a Jamaican in the team. My dad would love that. Arsenal's team. But he's been playing pretty well this season. 5 goals, 4 assists. Can play out on either wing, either left or right. Really, really being spoken about highly. This guy's lots of teams looking at him. Chelsea have been looking hard at him. Arsenal as well. He's said to really favour a move to Arsenal. He's a really quick player, very good friends apparently with Usain Bolt. Could he be a player that could come in and really excite in that Arsenal team? Of course, a lot of these guys are being looked at because we know that whether it be January or the end of the season, Alexis Sanchez is going to be off. But Leon Bailey is being a player heavily linked with Arsenal. I look at it and I say to myself, though, we've got a 20-year-old guy who can play out on either wing, who's really exciting, really talented, in Reece Nelson, if we give him a chance. So should we be going to get Leon Bailey? Who knows? But he's been very heavily linked with a move to Arsenal. So, looks like they're really looking at that midfield. Another midfielder they're looking at actually is Rafinha. Now, Rafinha plays for Barcelona. Very, very good player. Was bubbling up very nicely at Barcelona, really looking like a nice prospect, but then picked up a big knee injury that's been kept him out for a long time. He is, though, fit again and rearing to go There's only one problem. He can't get back into that team at the moment. The Barcelona midfield is very, very strong at this moment in time. Barcelona flying as well over there in Spain, the top of the league. And this guy, he wants to play football. It's a World Cup year. He wants to try and get into the Brazilian team. Would he be worth a punt by Arsenal? Definitely, it looks like Barcelona would be willing to sell him. There's a possibility even maybe on loan. However, as we know, he's just coming off the back of an injury. But would he be what Arsenal needs? As I said, there's problems in that midfield at the moment with creativity. We're seeing how we're struggling in lots of games to break teams down. Could Rafinha be the answer? You know what? Last week we was doing a podcast, me and DT, and if you haven't checked out any of our podcasts that we do it weekly, excellently, all guns blazing podcast. Make sure you check it out. But we were discussing replacements for Alexis Sanchez, and two of the guys we were talking about were Wilfried Zaha of Crystal Palace and also Riyad Mahrez of Leicester. And I was saying that maybe one of those could be a player that could replace Alexis Sanchez. Not as good as Alexis Sanchez, but could replace, because Alexis, whilst he's a great player, he constantly cuts in off the wing and we lack width when he plays. Both of these guys, even though they cut in a lot, they also can hit the byline and create a lot of width. Now, DT said he'd love to have both of them in the team. For him, we should go and get both of them as replacements to Alexis Sanchez. Now, it's Stan Kroenke, Wenger. They struggle to buy one, let alone two. You would know they wouldn't go and get the two of them. But if you could only have one of them, who would it be? I know who I'd rather have out of the two. I think both of them are players that would do brilliantly at Arsenal. I really do. But if I could only have one, who would that be? I'm asking you the question. Who would that be? If you could only have one out of Wilfried Zaha of Crystal Palace and Riyad Mahrez of Leicester City, who would you have? I'm going to put it to a poll and let me know what you're thinking. Listen, thanks for watching Transfer Daily today. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. It's the #1 transfer show on YouTube. Forget all the imitators. This is the one. Make sure you check us out each and every day here throughout January. Bring you up to date with all the transfer news.
Subscribe to ArsenalFanTV.